chapel and the Ape Chapel. Let's see.
All right.
This is Guerrero. All right. I trust Stella to figure out where to land.
We'll let Dave and Kate go first. I love your outfit. Oh no, she's a disorderly orderly. Yeah, I'll wait for adjust.
These chairs out? Just got a sheet out of it.
And then you just fit in your
You're perfect.
and then
Go for it.
When I was growing up, I loved Halloween because when I went trick-or-treating, I used to get extra stuff. As you can imagine, mostly everybody knew me, that little poor boy in the wheelchair. Some houses even had a special treat just for me, like a full-size candy bar instead of a miniature. Other times I got a handful of candy instead of one piece. Of course, my favorite was some houses bypassed the candy altogether and gave me money. My brother and sister are 8 and 5 years older than I am, respectfully, so they went trick-or-treating with their friends. However, my sister realized throughout the years that I got more money than candy, so she finally volunteered to take me trick-or-treating. That year there was a woman who actually yelled for her husband to bring us a couple of dollars each. I do not remember how much money we got that Halloween, but I know it was in double figures. Thank you.
thank you.
Well, I've always loved Halloween. In fact, I loved it more than I did Christmas when I was a kid. Because you could dress up in costumes and you got candy. I mean, how great is that, you know? So when I was about 6 years old, I got a witch costume and I was so excited. My brother and I were going to go trick-or-treating that night. He was going to go as a pirate and I was going to go as a witch. We couldn't wait till dusk. Well, finally, the sun started to go down, and my dad took us trick-or-treating. Now, in the neighborhood where I lived, Every house had steps to go up into the porch. And my dad lifted me up onto every porch in the neighborhood and took me back down. And I didn't realize what a labor of love that was until I got to be much older. Well, one day I had a realization. We go to a house and the woman handing out candy is exclaiming to everyone that goes to the door and says, "Oh, look, what a beautiful princess." Or, "Oh, look at this pirate, he's scary." Or, "Oh, it's Cinderella." And then I would go up to the lady and she would say, "Oh, hi, Renee." My heart sank. It was the first time I realized no matter how I dressed up, my disability was what they always saw first. Eventually, trick-or-treating, well, actually, what happened was when that happened often enough, at one point I said, "I am not Renee, I am a scary witch." But no, they didn't hear it. Well, eventually, trick-or-treating lost its luster for me, so I just stopped going. You know, it just wasn't fun anymore. You could, no matter what I put on, I was always going to be Renee. So, fast forward to today. Forget it. I am a scary witch. I am not Renee. At least for right now. Thank you.
Halloween is a time to dress up and hide yourself. Usually, when I would go trick-or-treating, people knew who I was by my wheelchair. So I would incorporate my wheelchair into my costumes, such as being a Ghostbuster. We took apart a child's play car that a child sits in. Then we attached the steering mechanism to my wheelchair. Since I used a push wheelchair, I would turn the steering wheel and pretended like I was driving the Ghostbuster car. It even had a horn. On another Halloween, I just wasn't loud. My sister and I headed off to conquer the neighborhood. We went to this one house that I remember like it was yesterday. The lady who answered the door said, "Oh, look at the clown in the wheelchair." My sister and held in our laughter until we were down the driveway. We laughed the entire night. Years went by and I didn't dress up that much until Dr. Dave moved to Austin and we decided to venture down to 6th Street for Halloween. There was one costume I had always wanted to dress up as. It was a homeless person. I wasn't quite sure how it would be seen, but if I was going to do it, this was the time. So I cut up an old pair of pants and holey shirt and put makeup on my face to look dirty. I also had a bucket attached to my wheelchair along with a cardboard sign around my neck that read "Anything helps." I thought it was funny when I tried to go into a restaurant and they wouldn't let me in with my sign. They made me take it off and put it in my backpack. After I left the restaurant, I put the sign back on.
Okay. All right. So my story isn't about Halloween, but it does involve a costume. Well, I've loved costumes and acting for as long as I can remember. But, well, how should I say this? The question of whether or not to play a particular character due to my wheelchair never really crossed my mind until I was well into college. That's when I decided to go to my first anime convention right here, which was IkiCon 1, right here in Austin, Texas. It's a gathering for fans of Japanese comics and animation and pop culture, for those who don't know. And for that convention, my mom and I pulled together pretty much the costume you see right here. This is Goku. He's the hero of a little TV show you might have heard of called Dragon Ball Z. And I remember being so excited for the event. But as we pulled up to the hotel, somehow, all of a sudden, my stomach was in knots. I could see all of these people with equally colorful clothing and wild hair, but I still wondered, how would they see me? Could I really pull off this flamboyant, awesome character that was Goku, or would they laugh at me? Or worse, tell me I suck. Well, I had come too far to turn back now. So I unloaded and went in. And as I was waiting in line to buy my ticket into the event, 3 people came up to me. Ninja people. And immediately one of them asked, "Goku, what happened to you?" And right after, a second pipes up, "Come on, tell us who did this to you. We'll take care of them." I just had to laugh. Guys, this is nothing. My friend Vegeta and I just got into a fight because I think I ate the last piece of his favorite sushi, that's all. You see, with all the grueling training and dangerous techniques and brutal fights people have seen Goku go through in the show, let's just say he's no stranger to big injuries. So they thought my wheelchair was a prop. Well, as soon as it became part of the story for me, I owned it. And so, around 10 years and quite a few cosplays and cons later, I still don't let my wheelchair limit me from playing the passionate, kick-butt fighters I love. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Who's up next?